Big E finally wins the WWE Championship, defeating Bobby Lashley. But in a world where that doesn't happen, it would have been Big E one-on-one with Roman Reigns. Does he actually cash in successfully? Doubtful, but still, that would have been quite the task for Big E versus Roman Reigns. And in 2022, Liv Morgan, she would cash in her opportunity on Ronda Rousey. But what if instead of Ronda Rousey, she cashed in on the SmackDown Women's Champion, Bianca Belair? This has money all over it. I would have loved to have seen this type of a matchup, and let alone just storyline between these two. Would Liv Morgan have successfully done so? That's up for you to debate, but honestly, I still would have been down to have seen this matchup. And in 2022, Theory, Austin Theory, now that we know him, won the contract and for some reason cashed in for the US title, and he failed to do so. In this world, he's cashing in on the world champion. That would have been Roman Reigns. And if you thought that last cash in was really bad for the US title, I could only imagine what Roman would have done to it. This is by far the easiest one to predict. Theory's not beating Roman. Nobody was beating Roman at that point, which in hindsight I guess makes sense why they went for the US title, but still, you gotta try, right? In 2023, Io Sky would cash in her opportunity on Bianca Belair, who had just won the SmackDown Championship at that point. But in this parallel universe, what if she cashes in on Rhea Ripley? That is an enticing feud, and it's something we revisited earlier this year, WrestleMania 41. But Io Sky and Rhea Ripley at that point, sign me up. Speaking of the Judgment Day, Damian Priest had won in 2023, and although he had originally cashed in on Seth Rollins, rather Drew McIntyre, who had won after WrestleMania 40, in this world he would have been cashing in on Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest for a world title. I think that's something we will see in the foreseeable future, but back then in 2023/2024, don't know if Damian Priest gets it done. And in last year's Money in the Bank event, Drew McIntyre won for the men, and he had failed to cash in for the World Championship. But in this world, he would have been cashing in on Cody Rhodes. And again, same thing. See the previous answer for Damian Priest. I don't know if Drew McIntyre does so. I think it would have been interesting to see Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes. Again, another feud that I think we'll see down the line. Finally, Tiffany Stratton, the latest cash-in for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Earlier this year in January, she'd cashed in on Nia Jax, but if she would have waited around the same time, it could have been Liv Morgan that she would have cashed in on, or a little bit later after the first Raw on Netflix, it would have been Rhea Ripley.